Welcome back, D-listers. It's your boys, Cornelius, Buck, and Mikol.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
You know, today's episode, Babylon.
Banger.
Damien Chazelle.
Banger. I'm going to have to finish the trifecta. Not the trifecta, the quadfecta.
The quadfecta.
Damien Chazelle quadfecta.
I think we might be able to get into some rankings because we've recently watched all 5, so I have some fair
all
four. All 4 quadfecta. Cinco fecta, quadfecta. Okay. Little synopsis for you guys is follows a couple of characters, but 3 main characters to their journeys through the film industry in the late 1920s and so on from there. And it's Nellie, actress trying to make a name for herself.
Nellie Leroy.
Which later turns into, her trying to stay relevant as the film industry goes on, which is the same for Jack Conrad.
Played by Bradley Pitt.
Handsome man.
Handsome man. Holy shit.
But
I would have kissed him.
He is a silent film star. Silent film star. And quickly realizing that he does not have the theatric skills for talkies, is what they call them.
The walkie-talkies.
Can't do it.
I can't see.
And then
You can't do it anymore.
Manuel Torres.
I love you.
Trying to make a name for himself in America. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you. I love you.
I love you. I love you.
I'm
Manuel Torres.
In the rain.
He initially gets brought on as Jack's assistant, helping him out with everything.
Before that, he was herding elephants.
He was not hurting elephants. He was party host.
He was
working the party.
Getting that shit out
which
of
got
that
him
elephant.
hired as Jack Conrad's assistant, which then later got him into the film industry, all the way up to a studio executive, right? Studio executive.
Yep.
He was the man.
He was the man.
With the plan and the cheese.
A lot of cheese. Lost the cheese.
And then the whole time he was chasing after.
Focus,
he was chasing after Nellie Leroy.
Chasing.
I mean, can you blame the man?
No.
And she had some problems.
Maybe like the late coke addict days, yeah, but
Yeah,
she had gambling problems.
Her fall off was serious.
She got some serious debt, which ended up screwing over.
Sounds like your 3 D-list hosts.
Screwing over Manny.
Big time gambler.
my gambling issue fixed part of my serious debt, so I don't know.
I hope everybody's keeping tallies. I can't even get through the fucking synopsis. I hope everybody's keeping tally. That's crazy.
Keep going.
He tries to help Nellie. Runs into some bad people. Has to leave town and leave his dreams to being a film director. Whatever it ended up being. But he had to leave his dreams.
He did.
Sure did.
He did.
I put, not only does the movie show you the chaos of Hollywood during this time, but also how a film became the way it is today with all the advancements it made throughout time.
Yeah.
So I think it does a great job at, showing the early stages and then the transition as it went along.
Does a good job of showing how the movies we all love are so magical and they're so great and so powerful and they can really bring out crazy emotions out of people, but the making of those movies comes at a serious cost, and especially back then, those motherfuckers dying on set. Dudes was getting busy with the coke, with the lean. They had lean back then?
They
was getting leaned out
back then.
They wasn't on that drink for real.
They had that OG coke.
They were a lot of coke.
They did have that coke.
A lot of coke snorting. Left and right, really. Left and right.
What'd you think, Mike?
I fucking love that movie, dude. I love that movie so much. I don't know. I really don't understand why it got so much hate it got when it came out. The only thing I can think of is maybe the ending, because the entire movie is following it's following a pace, like this chaotic pace, and it's following the theme the entire way through, and then right at the ending it kind of cuts into something completely different, which I get what he was trying to do, but I don't think he did it right, and I think he could have done it better.
What do you mean? Like with the ending?
With
montage?
showing the montage and the progress of movies and everything at the end.
It was a lot. It was a little out of place.
A little out of place.
It was really cool. I really enjoyed the montage itself, but I thought that.
So sorry to cut you off, but
good.
I saw something that said there's probably licensing issues, which is why he could only show certain clips. Otherwise, he could have made a way cooler montage that grabbed everybody. But there's probably a lot of hurdles you have to
Yeah.
go through to get certain clips in your movie.
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know how he could have done it differently, but I feel like he should have done it differently because it just came out of nowhere.
Well, part of it he probably I get what you mean. You mean like not like that.
Yeah, like I think he.
But
could've
that was
ended-
essentially that was the ending. Him having to.
It was, but I feel like he could have ended the movie with when Singing in the Rain starts and he's sitting in the movie theater and he starts crying. I feel like he could have ended it right there and it would have been fine. But
Yeah, I think they should have got rid of the montage as a whole. I mean, it was
Well,
like I
after-
said, it was so cool to watch. Like the montage was really cool, and I think it did make sense too because it was, Manny's character seeing.
That's all his dream was, to be a part of that.
And it made him realize that
And he was at the start
He
of
was a part of that.
The revolution.
But I do agree. I think it would have been more of like a gut punch or whatever
That's
if
why he was crying.
if they would have cut it right there when he was crying, and like you could still make that assumption by watching Sing in the Rain that
like even he could have kept part of the montage. I don't know. Like they did that part where they were going through like the movies that they all did, and they were doing the newspaper articles and everything about how everyone's dying and everything. Like they could have kept that.
Yeah.
And then ended up Singing in the Rain, but I
agree.
I don't know.
I think the point was to show the evolution, and that those people that made all that stuff back then is the whole reason why we have the great films that we have today, is because it started with those people and then throughout time as it advanced.
Yeah.
So I do think it was a licensing issue. Otherwise, you probably could have a lot cooler transition into it maybe. But we don't really know, so I'm not going to speculate on licensing or whatnot.
Other than that, though, I love that movie. It's like, the entire movie is just a big chaotic mess that all makes sense and all comes together. Like I think that first party scene, or like that entire party thing, that's the first 30 minutes of the movie.
It is absolutely.
It doesn't even feel like it feels like you watch like 5 minutes of the movie, then you check the timer and you're 30 minutes in. Like, damn.
I put
So much shit happened in that 30 minutes too.
It's an epic 30 minutes.
the pure chaos in the first party act, when I put act because it was that long. You can't even say scene.
Yeah.
But I put even when it would die down and you thought, okay, now it's going to get into the movie because the chaos is over. Nelly came and just drove through a fucking statue. Or when he was talking to Jack, chair comes out the fucking window.
I wrote that down as one of my favorite things about the movie too.
When the guy gets thrown out of the window.
That, yeah, but like,
That was so funny.
also everything is so chaotic, and then like the second that Manny walks outside just to smoke a cigarette, it gets quiet and it's like slow jazz music, and like you're like, damn, all right, we're done, it's relaxed. And then Margot Robbie comes flying around the corner, slams into a fucking statue, screaming, yelling at everybody, and just like picks right back up into the chaos.
That's just kind of how the whole
That's what
movie
I'm
was. Like it was just like.
Well,
calm,
and then
relaxed,
even when they go away from the party and he takes Jack home, and you think, okay, now it's normal. And then the motherfucker falls off the balcony and into the pool. You're like, okay. Like, okay.
I mean, that was just kind of mirrored of the whole theme of like.
It was
The movies are so calm and collected, and we get this crazy result in movies, but what comes with making those movies is straight like
mess.
just a mess. It's
Fucking
just
mess.
especially back in the 20s and 30s, it's just a bunch of people fucking doing drugs and drinking alcohol and
that
having a
motherfucker-
lot of sex and just not
man.
not the proper way to make movies. But the result was always
Depends on what kind of movie.
always great. I mean, Babylon, or that type of movie.
I'm not talking about.
Requirements.
I'm not talking about the normal movie.
Oh, we'll get that on our X-rated Patreon list.
Anyway, Buck, what did you think of the movie?
You care about my opinion, man?
I do.
I don't.
Thanks. Didn't think so, but I thought it's an awesome movie, bro. I really liked it. I think, just what you said, just the chaotic nature of the movie, and I mean, as all three of us do, I love movies, and this is a movie about making movies. So I just thought, like, the feel of the Roaring '20s was really cool, and with the set and the costume designs, and they did hoe my girl Margot with the Oscar. We'll talk about that later, but no nomination is low key crazy because she was going fed during this movie.
I think it's just because that Rotten Tomatoes review. I say they gave it 54%. People were like, all right.
Yeah, but she was going crazy. Like, this might have been the best acting I've ever seen from that young woman. But yeah, I loved it. I thought could have been a little shorter. There was one scene I did not like, or I guess not scene, but I thought all the stuff with Tobey Maguire was just like, Like, get that shit out of there, bro.
It was not needed.
Like,
wasn't.
like
It was
the
not needed.
part. I think meeting up with him was okay, but then when he took them to the whole dungeon thing, like that was just like he could have just like noticed when they were sitting at the house that the money was fake, and then they could have like got some guards and had him run out of the house. But all that dumb shit, the motherfucker eating the rat, like that shit was so gross, bro. I'm not trying to.
And it
watch
did
that.
drag on the movie, and I was looking at some reviews after, and most people that gave it 4 stars, which I think 4-star was like the most. I think most people gave it 4 stars, and people said they docked points because like they didn't like the second half or the last hour, which that essentially was the start of the last hour was that unnecessary scene.
I mean, and then the ending scene, like
people docked.
I thought it would have been better without it, but I don't have a problem with it, honestly,
have a
like because I
problem with it
really
either.
enjoyed watching that part of the movie. Like it was just very pretty, and it was a cool evolution of film.
Like, I think you could easily nitpick and be like, oh, it should have gone into this and this and this for the montage, but like the idea is the montage itself. It's not the pick your perfect movies to make it Tucker Craft touchdown. It's not pick your perfect, it's not gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
So
Dude, I have
it's the idea.
one last problem with the montage. I didn't realize it the first when we first all saw it when it came out in theaters, and we walked out. We're like, damn, dude, I had a fucking seizure from watching that shit right at the end. I didn't realize why he put everything at the end. And then I don't know why this time I watched it, just the red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue over and over and over again.
That's like a clapboard.
No, it's just RGB. It's just the
RGB.
lights. Like, I think part of it was to show like color coming to movies and everything too, and then the RGB over and over and over again.
What is RGB?
Red,
green,
green,
blue.
blue.
I understand, but like, why is that important?
Because that's what goes into that's what goes into lights. It's red, green, and blue are the main 3 colors.
Oh, so why are you just using the acronym? Why not just say red, green, blue?
Because
Why
why does anybody use acronyms?
He said both though.
Why does anybody use acronyms?
But he said the acronym, then he said red, green, blue. after.
To let the people at home
times, then it becomes
that
a mouthful,
didn't-
and I'm like RGB.
Like the people at home that don't know what RGB means.
I
He
knew
said
what it
red,
meant, but
green,
I was
blue.
asking why he said it.
To let the people at home who might not know what was going on.
Red, green,
Whatever,
blue.
bro. Yeah.
Red, green, blue.
Cool.
But a lot of colors flashing
LOL.
all the time. Just
That's laugh out loud for the folks at home. Sorry.
I've never used that one.
we got any more thoughts on initial thoughts on the movie?
I mean, other than that, I thought, and there are so many cool scenes. I loved at the very beginning when Manny and Nelly are talking, and she asked him what she said. She said, if you could be anywhere in the world, where would you be? He's like, I'd go to a movie set. And she's like, why? And he's like, just explaining why he loved movies, and like I just.
I want to be a part of something bigger.
Yeah, and I loved how they
something.
I loved how they looped around to it at the end.
Also, they it was kind of foreshadowing, but when Nelly was trying to get into the party originally, she was pretending to be this other famous actress, and he was like, she said, I wrote it down. Let me not butcher this, Johnson. She put she'll be forgotten in 30 years, which foreshadowed the whole movie because then she was going to be forgotten once.
I didn't notice
She
that.
kind of doomed her own fate.
I mean, that's what happened with all 3 of the characters,
Exactly.
essentially.
Which that was basically a foreshadow of the whole thing. To be the star of the show and then eventually forgotten as time goes on and new characters get introduced as the star of the show.
Yeah, it's pretty much the theme of the whole movie.
Which I feel like a lot of people missed that
I freaking loved.
statement she made.
I love how late they bring the title card onto the movie.
Yeah, it was after.
It's so unique. I remember the first time. I think I was sitting next to one of you guys. I said something. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like that was crazy. It was like 32 minutes into the movie or something. I was like, "Damn!" I didn't even think about the title card, and then they just popped that bitch up.
So it was after the whole thing with Jack doing his speech about how they got to revolutionize the form, and then he falls off the thing, and then I think it's right after that.
And then the quote is,
I wrote that bad boy down.
he says, "You ever seen a movie set before?" And Manny goes, "No." And then Jack's like, "You'll see. It's the most magical place on earth." And then Manny says something in Spanish. He says like, I've written down too. He says, "I've heard." I don't
That
know-
was,
I don't know
one
what he said in
thing-
Spanish. And then it just like that crazy music and brrrs.
One thing
Very cool.
I didn't like is I feel like they made him speak Spanish an unnecessary amount. Because he said they moved to the United States when he was 12 and he obviously speaks English, but he would just whip it out for no reason talking to white people. I get like if you're frustrated or in a heated moment, I can get that. But he would just randomly pull it out sometimes, and I thought it was a little unnecessary.
I
At
don't
some
know.
parts.
I think like
I had no problems with it when he was talking to the Spanish guy at the end of the movie, because that makes sense. He's talking to another Spanish guy in Spanish, but when he would pull it out
I had to turn on subtitles for that.
yeah, when he was talking to Brad Pitt or Margot Robbie, why is he pulling out the Spanish for no reason?
Just flows.
and it's definitely his dominant language.
Yeah.
Like even though he
Yeah,
moved here
yeah.
at 12, he lived with his family for
But
way
still.
longer than that. And I think I don't know. I know some Spanish people that kind of just do that, not even on purpose. It's just like second nature.
Maybe.
Like if we went to Spain and like we would probably still want to speak English.
I would not be speaking Spanish.
I mean, if you live there for 20 years,
Oh,
you would
20
start.
years. Yeah, I thought you were saying like go tomorrow. Like I.
Well, no shit,
know.
you wouldn't
Wait.
speak
I
Spanish.
don't
What the
know.
hell would you
Wait.
say?
Hola.
Hola,
Te amo taco.
¿Dónde está agua?
te amo caca.
Poop.
Oh,
That is poop.
I was thinking of cock.
Oh, yeah, that's not right.
Te amo
Okay.
pene pequeño.
Something you said a minute ago, Corey.
Los huevos, balls.
Something you said a minute ago that I want to bounce off of. You were saying how she's gonna be forgotten in 30 years. There is a scene way later on that is kind of the opposite of that. When Brad Pitt, Jack, he's not getting any good films anymore. He's not really getting cast for anything. And then he goes into, I don't remember her name, but the reporter's office.
Is it? It's not Liz. I don't remember.
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Yeah, it was
that is
Eleanor,
her
yeah.
name.
He goes in there and then they're like, oh, she's not here. And then what's it called? He finds the article that she wrote about him and how he's fallen off and everything.
Yeah.
And then she went on her entire rant about how like
You know,
50, 100, 150 years from now, people are going to pull these
Out
out of the
the old
vault
one with
and
the
they're
name.
not going to remember me. Like, they're not going to remember Eleanor, but they're going to see you on the screen and you're living forever. Like, you were there forever. You're a part of that. And I don't know. It's like they kind of had both
Flip flop.
aspects in it. But that's that. That's what I got on that.
that was nice. Well said, Michael.
Thanks, man. I try.
How's that beer tasting?
Not good.
Finished it.
Yours is spooky.
It's not the best beer we've had on a
31.
D-list episode.
No.
Probably the worst, honestly.
Yeah.
You want to do a quick little ranking of the beers we've had?
Yeah, what have we had?
We've
Modelo.
had Corona, Modelo, Bud Light Lime, and Coors.
Okay, so Corona, Modelo, Bud Light Lime, and Coors. That's my ranking.
I'm gonna go Modelo is my favorite, and then I'm probably gonna go Bud Light Lime. Then I'm probably gonna go Corona, and then I'm probably gonna go Coors.
Wait till I bust out those golden monkeys.
What about
I got
That's gonna be an
a
adventure.
Modelo, Corona, Bud Light, Lime, Coors.
that? Was the Corona and the Bud Light Lime are like depending on my mood, honestly.
That's fair. You guys ever have a golden monkey or two or three?
I
I
got one
don't
of
know
my
what that
pets.
is. Actually, I do know what
There
that
was,
is, but I've never had one. You were
someone-
drinking those somewhere. That's the only reason I know what it is.
Someone the three of us used to work with, I asked him what his favorite beer was, and he went, yeah, Mike,
That's right.
golden monkeys. I'm like, all right, word. I took it home, they're like 15% or something like that.
And you,
I drank 2.5 and I went and yacked in the bathroom.
2?
Yeah.
Jeez, son.
Hey, I was cooked. It was over. Fucking wraps.
15% is not
That is a lot for a beer.
for a beer, but
No, I've had beers that are like pretty. As IPA.
sorry, I drink hard liquor. I don't drink that pussy beer shit. Just like that man Jack.
It's not 15, it's 10. But
But
I'm close. Yo, I think I texted you guys at one point when I was watching the movie. I was like 20, 30 minutes in. And I said,
I'd be blocked.
word? I don't blame you.
That's crazy.
What the fuck did I write down? I don't know, I texted you guys, I'm like, yo, I'm like 30 minutes through this movie and I already have like a page and a half written down.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to read off some of the stuff that I fucking wrote down at the beginning. The elephant scene, I wrote, the poop, okay, sure. Close up of the butthole? Come on, man.
I didn't enjoy watching that.
That shit was nuts.
It was fucking disgusting. Bro.
One thing that
Gaping.
one thing I didn't like about the movie is they overdid it on a lot of the like gross scenes.
you know what's-
Over throw up, over poop, over
You know what's
gore.
crazy though? Like I hated seeing that shit too, but it really like
Literally.
portrayed how difficult it was making these magical movies, which was like,
Yeah.
it was like, dang, like, it was definitely a little too much shit, but like, if you look at it, like, dang, those motherfuckers really had to go through the trenches and get shit on to make these magical movies. And what is the real happiness?
Bouncing off of too much shit. Later on in the movie, when Margot Robbie threw up on the dude, that was a solid like 5-6 second vomit.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, she was going crazy
after she already vomited on the carpet.
Yeah.
They overdid it a little bit, but I think it was intentional.
For sure.
I still think it was
that scene was great.
Too much though.
It was great. That one I already talked about earlier. Okay. When I was talking earlier about how was I talking about it earlier? I think I was. I don't know, when it was all chaotic and then he got outside, smoked a cigarette, and it calmed down.
Vibing.
Yeah, and then Margot Robbie crashed into the thing. Right after that, when it introduces you to Brad Pitt's character, he's in the car with his wife.
He's talking Italian.
She's like, if you talk Italian one more fucking time, I swear to God I'm divorcing you. He starts letting her rip in Italian.
No, it was a nice pause.
And he says a few words in English, and then he says some bullshit in Italian.
I would do something like that.
I don't think I would.
It's because you ain't got no balls.
I think
it's because I care about my fucking wife.
I think it depends on
if she would divorce you because you would talk Italian.
But if she was that pissed at me, I'd probably chill.
Well, I mean, you've been pretty pissed at me, and I still egg you on.
You're not my fucking wife. I'm not your wife.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I find out in the Patreon section of the D-listers what we're really doing behind the scenes.
Just because I give you crazy back shots does not mean I'm your husband.
I wrote
Breathtakingly.
I wrote down Sydney.
That's what I would do to my wife. I wouldn't.
I wrote down Sydney as a dog. I love that character.
A good character.
I like Sydney.
He's one of my favorite characters in the movie. I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's.
I mean, he was the only one that like didn't.
He kept it real.
He didn't fall into
He
a
didn't
trap.
change.
He put on that makeup and he walked out. He handed him the car. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna need that."
I'm not coming back.
He put that shit on though.
He did. You could tell. I like when he's playing the trumpet after that, and like he did good. Like you could tell he did not want to do that at all.
Yeah,
he was just trying to rush through it and get done and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
On top of that, soundtrack goated.
It was really good. That was another kind of issue. It was really good.
It repeated.
It also sounded a little similar to the La La Land soundtrack, which I thought was a little lazy. Like the music was really good, don't get me wrong, but there were a few songs where I was like, damn, like this literally sounds exactly the same as La La Land.
I was gonna say, look at this note that I have highlighted. It says, "Scene after she got the part reminds me of La La Land, especially the music." And then that song kept coming back and back and back again every time. Like
there was just like one little melody, and yeah. But great music though. I agree. It was freaking awesome.
Which also kind of makes sense. It kind of sounded like La La Land because it was the same. Like it was the same dude who did the La La Land music.
But,
he did all of
Shoot, just saying.
Chazelle scores.
Damien Chazelle tucks in his trumpet at night. That's what the streets are saying.
I think he do. He always got that thing on him with the switch. Trumpet with the switch.
I wrote down.
He a YC for real.
Well, actually.
Young cracker.
You think he wins cracker today?
Oh,
hell yeah.
He wins cracker of the day.
When this movie came out, he was definitely cracker of the day.
I saw a really wholesome cracker of the day the other day from Antonio Brown.
Yes, I saw it too.
It was the girl who had cancer and then she got pushed down the stairs at the Bills game. She literally had a sign was like, yeah, you didn't see that?
No.
It was this little ass girl and she had a sign like, I beat cancer or something like that. Now I'm here to watch Josh Allen. And apparently someone like, I don't know if it was accidental or just did it. Someone shoved her down the stairs. And then I saw on Twitter Antonio Brown wanted to confirm it was true. Then he goes, cracker of the day.
This is the second out of 4 episodes that we have mentioned Antonio Brown.
He's going to keep coming back because that man, he's a polarizing figure.
Polarizing figure, indeed.
He's coming back. I wrote down the director in Brad Pitt's silent film at the beginning.
Menace.
At the beginning, like the German dude.
Yeah, menace.
I love him.
He's a menace.
I love him. Just screaming, yelling at everybody.
It's like, my fucking camera.
My fucking camera. He finally got a camera. He starts kissing fucking Manny on the mouth.
I think Manny might have fucked with that a little bit.
I'm sure he did.
I think Corey would have fucked with it.
I would have been rubbing his bald ass head.
That's what you'd be doing to me.
I got experience. That whole sequence was kind of like one of my favorite scenes I have written down.
The first day on
when
set.
the junkies from Skid Row were revolting and they sent Manny's ass out there to deal with them, and they go, this the sucker they sent out to deal with us. And then they start chasing him, and then it cuts to the German dude talking to Jack. And then you can just see in the background Manny running with like 1,000 people chasing him.
Sitting there shooting the gun, screaming, "Get back to work! Get back to work!"
I wasn't there yet.
Oh.
Tally. And then he gets on the horse and starts shooting the gun, and then they all scatter, and then it cuts to a scene of them actually in gear again.
That was a good part. Yeah, I loved the whole sequence of the first day.
Yeah, that whole day, that's what I put. The whole day was peak from start to finish with the cuts in time from full-on action, and then it cut, and it said lunch, and then it's all calm, they're eating lunch, and it cuts to like 1:15 p.m. or whatever it was, and then there's just full-on action again. And then all while that was going on, you had Nelly putting on a show over there, making a name for herself too.
Yeah, it I mean, it is really like, I mean, the one experience I had on a TV set, it was the same thing. Like, it's like very chaotic. You're going from scene to scene to scene, and I mean, it wasn't like the one I was on wasn't obviously nearly as chaotic. It was in 2024, but
there wasn't some junkie on the floor with the flag sticking out
like
his chest.
No, I don't think anybody died on that set. But yeah, then it cuts to lunch. Everyone goes to lunch. Then once everyone eats lunch, like, all right, back to work. And you're shooting more and more and more. It's a whole day's worth and
I can tell you
of the same stuff.
Film school experiences I had like that, it's like that, but no one knows what they're doing. So it just like amplifies it. And I don't know, it's just a mess. A good mess, but a mess.
Good mess.
Good mess.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I liked how it showed all all three of the characters kind of coming into their own, or like beginning their journey, I guess.
Or
which for Jack was
stamping their journey for Jack.
Well, it was also kind of the beginning of the end for him, because after that it was like the movie started.
Hopeless romantic.
Yeah. So it was kind of the beginning of the journey for all three of them, because for Jack it was the beginning of the journey of him, like, doubting himself and eventually like
coming to terms with.
Right. And then for Margot, it was the start of her like getting introduced into this new life where she just obviously couldn't handle.
Got absorbed.
Same with Manny, which almost killed him, but
Margot
he survived.
But I got a question. Nice little question. Do you think losing George or Manny played the bigger role in Jack losing his touch and spiraling out of control?
Wasn't it George?
That's his best friend.
How did he lose Manny?
When Manny took the job.
He's not his assistant.
Otherwise, he was the right-hand man for Jack, just giving him all this extra feedback, and obviously
which
his feedback was
Which one happened first?
It kind of happened at the same time. Yeah. He lost George first.
I think.
I think he lost Manny and then George.
It was like
it pretty much happened at the same.
It was really close together.
Yeah, which it was probably a bigger time jump, but
I think it was definitely George though, because George was the only person that like he really cared about.
Yeah, and he said a couple times throughout too. He's like, he was the first person who told me that I had talent. The first person that told me I was good at this. And then he had his talkie, and everyone was laughing at it. And he's like, damn, I kind of want to know what George would have thought.
I also agree. I think George played a bigger role because he loved George. They're friends, and I think he gave him a sense of confidence because it solidified his status, as the top guy in Hollywood. And I think losing somebody like that, where you gain a lot of confidence, hurts the ego badly, and then you feel kind of lost, which is kind of what happened to Jack.
Especially a guy like him, who I think
confidence is everything.
And he thrived off of people telling him he was the best, and him like being, quote unquote, the biggest guy in Hollywood.
I thought you were gonna say the Fantastic Mr. Fox for some reason.
I should have, bro. That would have been.
I wanted to talk about something else, but now something else popped in my head. Are you guys like? I know it's the second time we both watched the movie, or all three of us have watched the movie.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it in a minute. Did you like? I forgot about a lot of it. Did you also know like from that last scene that Jackson, when he's sitting there talking to Lady Faye, and then she gets up, like it also popped in your head that he's about to off himself?
So I wrote that down as a question too.
I mean, the second time I watched it, I knew it the whole time, like I was waiting for it. But the first time I watched it, that shit caught me by surprise for sure.
No, I realized he was gonna do it when he gave that kid all that money. I'm like, okay, because the tone was just sad. You kind of had a feeling that something was off. and then you could just tell, and then he gave that kid all that money. They had like a little sad soundtrack in the back.
Lady Faye looking back at him too.
Yeah, she knew too.
Own, like swiveling his drink. But it's annoying. I think I've gotten weirdly good at being able to like point that out in movies now. Every time someone's about to off himself, I can just tell. I'm like, yeah, that dude's about to fucking kill himself in a minute.
You okay?
I'm great. But yeah, it's like that dude's about to kill himself, and then he kills himself.
Thanks for asking.
You're not the one that just said I could tell very well.
I could also tell.
Sorry, I can't read your
I knew the first time.
I didn't know the first time.
Some things are telling.
They made it kind of obvious.
A little obvious.
The second time it was, yeah.
I completely forgot.
Well, yeah, the second time because you already knew it was going to happen.
I mean, I don't know. I was so shocked by it the first time, so the second time
I like the camera work they did on it.
Just did it again.
I like the camera work they did on it when he killed himself.
If I rewatched the 2016 NBA Finals.
And they had it peeking through the door a little bit, and you can only see parts of it. That was cool. But the other thing I want to talk about.
That was cool too.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. The other thing I want to talk about, Margot Robbie's first talkie, when they were doing that take time and time and time and time again. That scene was fucking nuts.
That scene was nuts.
It went on for so long, and everyone's crashing out, freaking the fuck out, screaming, yelling at each other.
And then they finally get it. They're all so happy, and they're like, Billy, come out. Billy. Billy's fucking dead in the fucking box.
That was crazy, too. That's an actual thing that happened.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember when it happened, and I couldn't find it when I was doing my research, but I do remember learning that, like, that was a thing that happened. I want to say they called them hot boxes when they were just sitting there doing that shit because of how hot it was. And there was a time where they locked the dude in there and they just didn't grab him in time, and then he ended up dying just because of how long he was stuck in there.
Do you know why they put camera guys in boxes like that?
Get rid of the sound.
The cameras were super loud, weren't they?
Yeah, because you had to, like,
yeah,
you had to crank that shit. Same thing, like he pointed out the pin in the lady's ankle. And he was like, that was making that fucking ringing noise.
Right.
I thought it was funny how, the big honcho of the whole operation was just sitting there while they're all crashing out on each other. They're just sitting there yelling at each other as if he wasn't there. Big boss man's just sitting there like,
what the fuck is happening here, man? I like
you.
Ooh. I think it was the producer, that dude who was balding and he had the glasses and he was kind of fat. The main crash out.
Yeah, he's the guy in Wolf of Wall Street. I forget his name. Yeah.
Oh no, he was my favorite part of that entire scene. Just anytime he started screaming and yelling.
He was getting lit, bro. He wanted Billy to die in that bitch for real. He was probably happy when that motherfucker fell out of there.
Slammed his ass in when they were finally about to get it right, and he looks up at the sound guy and goes, "Roll fucking sound."
Good stuff.
Legend.
So who are y'all's favorite characters?
Manny.
I like them all, man.
Mine was the roommate Kyle.
He did not deserve what he got, man.
Like, this is my roommate Kyle. He's like, so only line. 2 seconds there, he gets fucking wet up.
Poor guy, man.
He got his ass. But really, my favorite character was Manny. Was good. I mean, I loved Nellie Leroy, even though she was just not good.
She ruined it for my boy.
But her character arc was pretty crazy, and I mean, Margot just did such a very, very good job at playing that character.
Shout out Lafayette, Louisiana.
Is that where she's from?
That's what they mentioned in the movie. She mentioned Lafayette.
Oh.
She said something along the lines of, all those whores in Lafayette. She didn't say it like that. But all those whores in Lafayette, look at me now.
Oh, yeah. She did say that.
That's where Dustin Poirier in D.C.
My dog.
Ghetto Hillbilly, Conor McGregor.
I was thinking of a favorite.
Good.
Yeah, pick one. Snap. Gun to your head.
Sydney.
Sydney was
I
dope.
fuck with Sydney.
He was probably number 2 for me, to be honest.
From the beginning of the movie, that man is ripping it on the trumpet.
He's
just going fucking stupid.
Passionate man. I like this when he said how that piano player broke his hand so he could reach keys. He said, I would have punched you in the mouth so your funky ass lips could play.
He was true to himself.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell, like, he had the idea of, like, yeah, you guys are pointing the cameras the wrong way. You should point it our way and everything. And then as soon as it was something that he didn't like, he just turned right back to how he wanted to be.
doing something that he felt was morally wrong and making him change who he was, which was his skin color. They basically told him he wasn't black enough,
which is crazy.
But,
yeah, and then that scene he had at the
So he
end
went-
too.
yeah.
That scene he had at the end where he was playing like I don't remember what it was, but that small little area, and he starts talking. He's like, "I am so happy to be here. Like you guys don't know, I am so happy to be here."
So
right now.
I did a little research and I, looked up if Sydney was played by an actual person, and I forgot to write down that person's name. But there was a drummer who was playing at music or on movie sets, who ended up leaving and then like kept moving around the San Francisco area, opening up clubs, which and they were never really that successful. So it kind of like could be what Sydney's path was doing clubs, because it was a rinky-dinky little
Kind
club.
of sounds like Sebastian.
Yeah,
La
a
La
little bit.
Land.
If that's what it was, do you think he did that because I was gonna go with Whiplash? Like, do you think Chazelle went with that because he already did the
That's
drum
what-
thing in Whiplash, so he switched it up and he's
That's
like,
why
fuck it, we'll run
it was a
trumpet?
drummer. So I think if he did
Probably,
drummer again,
definitely.
people would have said something about Whiplash. And people are already saying stuff about it being too similar to La La Land too. So
I'm saying just that one song.
there are other reviews I saw too.
No, I mean, there was definitely more that was like La La Land. Like the end montage is very similar to the end montage in La La Land.
It's about a man and a woman who have some feelings for each other, trying to chase two different dreams, but somewhat similar dreams. And
then you see the main character thinking of a dream of how life could have been, for him. And, they show like that's how it was, but in Manny's mind at the time, they're like, this is how it could be or will be if I, would have stuck around. And it's like the same thing as La La Land's ending, kind of. But it worked. It was good.
What else we got?
I mean, we've kind of already gone through this a little bit, but I guess we could talk about our favorite scenes. If anyone has a particular scene that was their favorite.
I kind of already said a couple of scenes.
I wrote down a couple.
That first silent movie set with the German dude and Nelly going crazy for her first scenes. Wild Child, that was probably my favorite.
I think mine was at the end when Sydney goes into the bar and plays the trumpet and they cut and, he's playing this sad song after you realize that he ended up sacrificing his dream to not, do what those people wanted. And then he's playing the trumpet as he's finally taking a step back. And then, they show him playing the sad song and they cut to all the characters who didn't do what he did, and they're all dead. And then they cut to Manny getting off the bus 20 years later, and he clearly isn't living that dream anymore.
We're going to play a little game now.
Oh.
I love me some games.
Would you crash out to what deal? There's a couple of,
Okay, I got you. I thought it was like, would you crash out to? And then whatever it is.
Maybe. There's some scenes where these characters crashed to freak out.
Yeah, they did.
We'll go with what we were just talking about. Would you crash out if they told you to put on blackface and you're playing the trumpet?
If I was a black
And his crash
man,
out was reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He handled that very professionally.
He didn't even crash out.
He left the set.
Bro, but he
That's
did
not a
not crash out.
though.
If
That's
that
just
happened to me, I would have fucking took that damn trumpet and threw that shit in his fucking face and walked out.
So I will say though.
So you would have crashed out. He did
Yes.
not crash out, but you would.
He
have
did not
crashed out.
crash
You
out.
gotta-
I would have crashed out.
I would have also crashed out.
I would have been pissed.
I would have also crashed out, but you got to respect that he did. He did
did it for the
moral
other
thing,
people.
Too. Yeah. As soon as Manny mentioned that it was like
Which Manny,
these other people's jobs are
kinda
really gonna
holy.
ruin that over some makeup, he's like, you know what, you're right, but I'm not coming back to this shit if that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Alright.
I don't know though.
Nelly's crash out in front of all those people at the rich party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would do that?
100%.
I think that it's just bigger than you. You just got to suck it up. And I think her crash out was really funny to watch, but that's one of those things you just have to suck it up. I know it sucks, and those people are just kind of begging you on to crash out, but they're doing that to test you. You have to. It's bigger than you.
I think it depends. I think if it's like for her, it was piling up her entire life that people were telling her that she's trash, she's garbage because she's from wherever the fuck she's from. She's like a piece of shit. And then she went on a whole rant earlier in the movie about how like she couldn't get jobs because people said she was too trashy or she was too fat. Most of the time, too fat or fucking whatever. And then people are trying to tell you that you gotta change who you are to get it, but you've been who you are your entire life. and then you're sitting there trying to fake it, and it's not working. Like I'm losing my mind right there.
Can't believe she wiped her ass with that bitch's Pomeranian.
That was pretty tough.
That was pretty tough.
That was a ferret or whatever the hell.
I
Looked like a fucking Pomeranian.
I don't know. I definitely think you're right, Corey. I think that
It's one of those situations.
yeah, I think
It's bigger than you because it wasn't just her that's getting the backlash from that. It's everybody else.
Damn.
And it happens all the time professionally where you just have to kind of bite your tongue and not say anything. But
yeah.
another crash out. Number 3. 2, if you're considering.
We'll call it 3.
We'll call it 3. Manny's crash out on Nelly when she showed up at his door.
Hell yeah, bro.
Stupid fucking bitch.
He kept trying to help her over and over again. And he did everything he could for her, and that bitch just would not learn.
Fucking bitch.
And dude, one of my fun facts, I'm gonna spit it out right now. It said $85,000 back then was equivalent to 1.8 mil today.
Fuck you.
I would have gone crazy if she said he was like, why don't you just use the money from your actors? She's like, oh, have it anyway. I was like, well, bitch, I ain't giving you that money. You're sick.
But they're gonna pour acid
Damn near
in her
2
pussy.
mil. That's crazy.
You gonna let
Pussy?
you
I thought
go?
she said feet.
Nope, she definitely said pussy.
Really?
Yep, that is what she said.
Now
I
we know
wrote
how
down
you view feet.
That's
one of the things I wrote down was
Got that, man.
I wrote pouring acid in pussy is wild.
I really thought she said feet.
Sorry, I used that word, Mom. She doesn't like that word. Thank you.
No.
Any other crash outs? I mean, what do you think about it? Like, you'd crash out during that too, right?
Yeah, I would not have covered for her.
No shot. Hell
a
no.
lot of
She's
money.
cooked. And he
And
kept
it
telling
ruined
her,
his career.
and he kept telling her how much he loved her, and like she was
She
not
only
going
came,
for it ever.
Came for help. She
While
only
we're
came
at
for
it,
help.
I'm not bringing, what was his name? The Count. I'm
He's
not
the one that had the
bringing
money.
He had the fake money. I'm not
He
bringing
didn't know it was fake.
I'm not
didn't
even
know it was fake.
plotting to bring his dumb. After you find out it's fake and you're getting shot at and everything, his ass is not coming with me to Mexico.
Were they
don't care.
friends?
I mean, they worked on
Kinda.
a few sets together, and he knew the guy. And then he pulled up with fake 85,000 equivalent.
He
of what,
brought him in.
1.3
He brought
mil?
him into the problem though.
Yeah, but still,
So he might have felt
fake
guilty.
Money?
He brought it. He could have just said, "No, man, I don't got 85,000." He's like, "Oh no, I got you."
And like, why? I told you I didn't like this scene, but if I knew the money was fake, and the other guy knew the money was fake,
I'm out of there.
why the hell would they go with the guy to the dungeon thing? I'm gone. I don't care what this dude talking about. It's like, I'm gonna fuck with y'all boys
What
tomorrow.
was the water that even got on the bill? Is it like a drip from the ceiling or something?
They're underground or something.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember.
There is water underground, believe it or not.
Look at this. Look at this. David Montgomery again. This is sick, bro. They're gonna stuff him.
Any more crash outs?
I don't think there were any more crash outs. I can't remember.
There's one more I can think of.
What is it?
The producer during during Nelly's whole thing.
That's reasonable.
The producer during.
Well, when dude
The
died in
first
hot box.
the first talkie.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they were all kind of crashing out on each other.
I think they were just, it was so new and they didn't know what they were working with because it was the first time they all made a scene for a talkie or whatever that was called. And
That was scene 17.
huh?
That was scene 17.
Okay, well, they were still new to it. It was okay. It was the first week doing it. So it is understandable. I mean, I don't agree with that way of, working with people. I can't believe they keep throwing this guy the ball.
It's Tim Patrick.
He's going nuts. But no, I understand the crash out, but I probably would not have crashed out in that scenario. I think the only one I would genuinely have crashed out for was the Sydney joint. Like that shit, nah, I'm going home.
And he didn't even crash out. Very
Isn't that
professional
crazy?
man.
Isn't that crazy? That shows you
Well,
how
it's-
fucked up the characters in this movie are.
Well, and it also shows you how fucked up the time was.
True. I got one last.
Roaring 20s, baby. I wish I lived it.
Well, I
Would
think during that was like 30.
Would y'all enjoy living in the Roaring 20s? Would you enjoy going to a big party like that?
Honestly, no.
I think I'd hate it.
No. Maybe if I was like born and alive back then, yeah.
I think
but,
one
like,
night
me
just
right
to-
now, no.
Oh yeah, back then obviously because you ain't got Fortnite at home.
I think one night experiencing a crazy night like that would be kind of crazy and
Yeah, but if you're doing that,
enjoyable.
like,
I just said crazy
weekly-
like 7 times.
If you're doing that like weekly,
Nah,
I guess back then, I don't know. I was gonna say you got to reevaluate, but back then, that's probably like what you're striving for. That's probably peak life right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I got one more crash out. One last. If you're Damien Chazelle, And you put one of my fun facts. He worked on that script for 15 years.
Yeah,
He did research. He worked on that for 15 years. Another one of my fun facts. He recorded a 2-hour-long version in his backyard with the guy who played Manny and his wife on his iPhone. That I don't think is anywhere, but he did it. If you put all that time into that movie, recording that extra 2 hours in your backyard of a movie, you put out the movie and it gets fucking like it bombs like that. Are you crashing out?
I mean, considering that none of his other movies have bombed, and like the bombing of this movie, I don't think will really. It's crazy how the movie bombed, and the movie is about actors getting to the point where their movies start to bomb. But no, because he's already pretty much solidified, and like it's not gonna like. There's no way that it's gonna prevent him from getting future work.
And plus, I think it's overhated.
It is very.
Where in
overrated.
Jack's case, he just sucked.
He did suck.
And people are just being a little silly with their harsh reviews for this movie because I think it's amazing.
That one feels kind of pointless now because I'm not crashing it either. I'd be very annoyed about it, but I'm not like breaking shit and throwing a fit.
And I think they definitely lost money making the movie because they spent so much on it. But I think this movie is a movie that will more than likely stand the test of time. And like in 10 years from now, people are going to still like it and appreciate it and watch it.
It's a fucking good movie.
Yeah.
Well, I think people that are hating on it now are going to go and rewatch it at some point in time, like 5 or 10 years, and then realize that they were wrong, stupid,
Yeah.
idiotic, moronic.
I really hated that movie.
What?
I had a couple of quotes that were my favorite in there. Not actual, like, meaningful quotes, but right in the beginning, can't drive an elephant without a permit.
Classic.
Who's going to stop him? And then you got
Banger.
how do you just tear up over and over? And Nelly goes, I just think of home.
That was a bar too.
It's a
It
bar.
was a sad bar.
And then one that was pretty important in the movie, when Manny's, directing everything on his first movie set that they show you him controlling everything. He gets a call. He goes, Jack, it's. I guess he calls Jack. He goes, Jack, it's Manny. Everything's about to change. Like talking about it.
And it did.
All right, I got 4 quotes. If y'all are cool, me running off 4 real quick. First one is somewhere in the beginning of the movie. Nelly goes to snort coke and Manny doesn't want to, and she goes, "Don't make me do it alone." And he sits there for a minute. And he goes, "Yeah, okay, whatever, man." And then he goes and snorts the coke. That's a classic. And then
It's probably the best quote from all the movies we've done so far.
he's got a little long after this one. When Jack wanted that lady who didn't speak English at all, what was her name? Olga. Is that her name? The one who shot him?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted her, and Manny said, "You know she doesn't speak English, right?" And he said, "Neither does love." And then
Then she shot him.
you know what we got to do when he's like when Jack's drunk and he's giving Manny the assistant job and everything, and he falls off. He hits him with you know what we got to do? We got to redefine the form. The man who puts gasoline in your tank goes to the movies. Why? Because he feels less alone there. Don't we owe him more than the same old shit that we've been doing?
Which is funny that Jack was kind of like one of the haters on the talkies.
Yeah, because he had the idea at the beginning of the movie that they got to like revolutionize everything and redefine it.
I think he realized that he wasn't meant for it. Still want to be the main character.
Don't want to be the main character.
Fourth and final quote.
Dude.
Yeah, fourth and final quote. When fucking Nelly is doing her first movie, she's there, and wait, maybe it wasn't there. Oh no, there. Yeah, it was there. It was there. There was a dude who was an extra, and the director was crashing out. She was getting all mad over something, and she just looks back at him, at the extra. She goes, "Hey, you. What's her name?" He goes, "Tim." And she goes,
You're fired.
You're fired. And he goes, "What?" And then the fucking producer walks up, goes, "You heard her, man. Get the fuck off the set." And he goes and throws her out.
No boobs.
No boobs.
No tits.
No tits.
Oh, yeah.
No tits.
I asked for the one with the tits. No tits.
No
tits.
tits.
Okay.
All
No
everybody,
tits.
No tits. We're going no tits.
Banger. I mean, mine was at the start, I think it was the first conversation Nelly and Manny have, and they're walking outside, and Nelly says to Manny, "Honey, you don't become a star. You either are one or you ain't, and I am."
That's a good one.
That was a banger.
Who you think you are? I am.
That was my exact thought.
It's good to know.
And then when Manny and Nelly are talking later on in that scene, and I think I mentioned this already, when Manny starts talking about why he loves movies. Dude, oh my gosh. I mean, this dude just doesn't want to play today.
Deontay Johnson out there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I mean, and then the quote right before the title card,
He ain't one of them.
where freaking Manny's putting Jack to night, and Jack's like, "You ever been on a movie set before?" He's like, "No," and he's like, "You'll see, it's the most magical place on earth." And he says like something in Spanish. I've heard.
That's what the streets are saying.
That reminded me of a scene way later in the movie.
What is
where
it?
Jack's doing that dog shit movie he's doing just because he's trying to help out his friend. He's like, "Am I bailing you out?" He's like, "Yeah, you're bailing me out." And he does that, and then he realizes how shit it is, but he looks around and he sees everybody on the set having fun, and he looks around at the set and everything. It's like you could tell he's like reminiscing on all the movies he's done and how much he loved that shit. And like he knew that was his last one.
Yeah,
Great scene.
that was a sleeper. Let's re-rank our Chazelle movies now. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
It's not like
It's Chappelle.
oh, my fault. I'll go first.
Let's
I
clear the
guess.
air out. Hold on. The first episode we tried doing, I said Dave Chappelle, and we just redid the whole thing. So that's what we keep going at.
Well, I don't think it was. It was when we did the Praxis episode.
No,
No, it was recorded.
it was
Oh,
within.
was?
It was when I was
Didn't
trying
we
to.
record the First Man one? We didn't.
No, we did.
No, it was.
No, we did La La Land first
Yeah,
episode.
we
Dingus.
did La La
I know,
Land.
but I thought it was.
No,
when
I
we
did it. I was doing the
synopsis.
the little synopsis, and I said Dave Chappelle is the director.
And then we both looked at him. We're like, Damien.
And since it was within the first 3 minutes, we just redid the whole thing.
It's on my computer somewhere.
Dope.
If I have it, I'm throwing it into this now.
Dope.
But
No,
I might not have it.
no.
Anyway,
Alright, who want to go first?
you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my list did change. I still have La La Land at 1. I still have Whiplash at 2. But I did put Babylon at 3 above First Man, I think, when we did the list a couple weeks ago. I think I put Babylon at 4. But I did move it up to 3. But yeah, I still think Whiplash and La La Land are probably take the cake over Babylon.
It's clear.
But Babylon it was a lot better this time I watched it than I remember like it being for me the first time I watched it in theaters. I think it just made a little more sense to me this time around.
I was locked in that first time. I don't know.
I was too.
I was my eyes wouldn't leave the screen.
That was one of the first movies we saw too, getting the A-list back.
Yeah.
Or I think the first time we got A-list, that was
think
one
it
of the
was-
first movies
yeah,
we watched.
yeah.
Might have been the first movie, to be honest.
No, it wasn't.
No, because I think the first movie was that stupid
It was,
Christmas movie, wasn't it?
Fucking what's his name, man?
It was
the guy that plays
Silent
Hopper in
Nights,
Stranger
wasn't that the
Things.
first
Yes.
Yeah, the
stupid
guy who plays
movie?
Hopper.
Hey, go to movie, by the way. Actually, I'm overriding.
It was the guy.
Christmas episode, Silent Night.
That's the Christmas episode. But yeah, that was one of the first movies we watched that, particular interest in me because I thought the movie was really good and it got me back into movies again.
It's a good
You want
one.
to do your list next or should I go?
I didn't even know.
I'll go. Now I have a proper ranking because before I was debating if it should be La La Land or Babylon for me at 1, and I think it's got to be La La Land at 1, Babylon 2, Whiplash 3, and then
First Man.
First Man. Did not like it.
I think mine is exactly the same as it was before. I think it's still La La Land, Whiplash, Babylon, and then First Man. And like the annoying thing is, First Man isn't a bad movie.
No,
It's not, but it's just like you stack them against those three. It's just like you got those three up here,
like in a
and
different
then you got
genre.
First Man down here.
Yeah.
But like if you put First Man against a bunch of other movies, you got like other movies, and then like First Man. If that makes sense.
My main problem with Whiplash is it's supposed to be a serious movie, and I just couldn't take it serious at all
Damn, they threw hella
because
flags.
J.K. Simmons was just making me laugh.
Yeah, I think the first time, I think if you watched it again, I don't think you would laugh as much. Even though he was saying some funny ass shit during that movie.
Let
And
somebody get in my face like that.
But for you, it was just so unexpected. You didn't expect him to say all that crazy shit. Bro, we were bugging in the theaters.
It was only us in there.
Good. Someone would have got pissed if they heard the shit we were laughing at.
Let them be pissed. I dare them.
I can't wait until we...
I don't mind.
I can't wait till we do one of these on a movie that we watch in theaters. We had a terrible movie experience, then we get to rank all of our shitty movie experiences.
That'll happen.
Because I already know what's going at number one. I'm not going to say it now, but I know.
I wish I was there.
I know what's there. Oh, you were there. I'm going to say that the newer Insidious movie.
Oh my
We had the people in front of us vaping.
Dude.
Just blowing smoke.
And the people behind us just wouldn't shut up.
The lady thought she was hilarious because she's like, oh, I gotta pee. I gotta pee. No one fucking cares,
The vape was crazy.
It's crazy.
Like, you're gonna fucking vape during a movie?
Criminal.
Might as well pull out a dart and light that bitch up.
Gotta hit the neck.
Dude, that was ridiculous. I forgot all about that. The worst part about that was,
that's
too...
why I have to sit in the back of a movie theater. I just don't want to deal with some annoying ass.
The worst part about that, too, is that movie actually was not that bad.
That was pretty good.
But I did not like the movie because of how horrible of that experience was.
The worst I've ever had.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got anything left on Babylon?
We can talk about the Oscars real quick.
We talk about the Oscars. It's not great.
They did the movie pretty dirty.
Very dirty.
Only 3 nominations. 0 for 3. 0 dubs.
Common theme around here.
And Margot Robbie got absolutely hoed.
Yeah, she did.
Didn't get nominated. I thought she was really good. She probably wouldn't have won. She would have lost to the chick in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Michelle Yeoh. I don't know. Sorry, young lady. I don't know your name. Best costume design. Got nominated. Lost.
Kind of deserving because half the movie they didn't really have a costume anyway, so.
Maybe that's why they deserved it.
It's part of the design, dingus.
Good design.
Actually. Yeah.
Original score was nominated. Deserved.
But it's not original.
I don't know who. Low-key, good argument.
Yeah,
I don't know what won.
I don't know, but I'm kind of okay with them losing.
Yeah. And then
Sure,
the
those
third.
songs, like, it was 2 songs that looped throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, I think the third one was production design, which deserved to be nominated, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what won that one either, but yeah, Margot got hoed.
True.
I think even Chazelle might have got hoed for best director or best directing. Because he did a good job, I thought. Maybe they were probably just pissed with the ending, bro. That's probably why they didn't nominate.
I think that's why it got such bad reviews. I wouldn't be
Which
surprised.
I understand kind of, but
I wouldn't be surprised if people were reviewing it reluctant for the movie and then the ending started. Or like that
And they
back
saw
hour
Avatar.
started and they're like, ooh.
yeah.
I saw a lot of the reviews talking about Avatar.
I come out at the same time.
No,
it was in the
part
fucking
of, that was my worst.
yeah.
That was my least favorite part of the montage.
That was an odd one to throw in there.
That's why they were, because Avatar's a crazy concept, man. Movie revolutionary.
Oh, that was weird.
It did change the game with the way movies were made, for sure. But yeah, that's it for the Oscars. No dubs.
Hate to see it.
Still very excited to see Chazelle's next movie.
Yeah, I've been.
Is he cooking one up?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Kinda. I looked it up a while ago because I know he was on thin ice apparently after First Man, and then which still it wasn't even that bad a movie, but whatever. He was on thin ice.
His
after
expectations
First
were so
Man,
high.
and then because this movie bombed, studios weren't. That picture of him is fucking crazy. I'm gonna throw that up there. Look at this. Because First Man bombed, not First Man. Because Babylon bombed. Apparently, studios are reluctant on giving him a shit ton of money because the next one he wants to make costs a shit ton of money. So they're kind of like not want to do that. But apparently, it's expected to be released in theaters in 2025, and it's based on an original script and is set in a prison.
Set in a prison? Bro, you got chill, bro. I could see that being pretty cool. Unless he does some like freaking prison musical, then maybe.
Hashtag team longer than a Corona bottle.
Damn, them big ass feet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think it'll be good either way. Not worried.
It should be. It
Yeah.
should be.
Not worried.
All right, but I think this wraps this up for Babylon. So thank you for watching, and we're going to Mike for next week's movie.
Yeah. Personal favorite that I don't think either Buck or Corey have watched yet. I decided on it 5 minutes ago. I was stuck between 8 whole movies, and I whittled it down to this one. It's going to sound kind of weird at first. Starring Ben Stiller.
Oh,
Directed by Ben Stiller.
what?
Yep. We're watching The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Wow. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. I was actually going to watch that movie a couple months ago, but I didn't watch it.
I love that movie
Nice.
so much. It's I don't know, man. It's a movie about the theme of pursuing happiness and freedom, and I love every second of it. So
Sounds like a big contrast from Babylon.
big contrast from Babylon.
Nice.
A big part of young Mike's life, though, changed a couple things. So
make sure you tune in next week so
Where we
we get that.
I didn't know he directed that movie. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I didn't know that either actually, and so I looked it up right before we started this. But
Interesting.
Like, subscribe, drop a comment. Links down
Yep.
below for all our other
links
accounts.
down below.
And we'll see
Spotify,
you-
Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Look, got a couple goons in the back, and they all got a little heat sensitive of smoke. They don't even gotta move from the back. You don't gotta look for the game. If you see me, always been the cool where I'm at. Okay. Shawty said she tryna take a Nate, don't break when it's dropped. She about to relapse. I'm in the field.